Okay, and we're going.
How you going, Tys?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm not bad.
Episode 3.
Episode 3.
Who would have thought we'd make it to 3 episodes?
Revenge of the Sith.
It is. What other 3s are there?
Back to the Future 3. No.
The one in the West?
The one in...
That's what it's called, isn't it? The one in the Old West.
Yeah, totally.
That was the byline.
Yeah.
I can't think of
is
any
there
other
another
good
good
ones.
3? There's tons of 3s that are awesome.
No, like I like the good...
Oh, you want to...
I want a good byline.
You want
What
a
are they
good
called?
byline.
Subtitle.
Okay. Oh, I can give you one.
Yeah?
I can give you X-Men. The
Last
sorry.
Stand.
No, The Last Stand. Yep.
No, let's
I like a good exhale from you, Tys. My favorite, the fact that we're doing this together, and now that I know that you go, "Hey, Tys, how good was that?" And you go, Jesus. Whereas I'm the complete opposite. I will be very, very vocal.
Well, so we have made it to episode 3.
We have.
What a milestone.
I know, right?
Today we're very excited because we're going to have this is our first kind of our movie featured episode where we'd like to talk about a movie that we figured we'd have something to talk about.
Yeah. We just picked one. We kind of picked one out of the hat. It wasn't. It's not.
This was your choice, though.
It was. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that. That's because everyone has an opinion about this movie. It's very easy to have opinion about this movie. Sorry, I should say.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's very true. Well, there's no point building the suspense. We are talking about Die Hard with a Vengeance.
That's true.
We will get to that shortly, though. Why don't we start with our first segment? Actually, why don't we start with a bit of housekeeping?
Oh, go for it.
Nick, what's our Twitter?
Oh, our Twitter. Our Twitter is... As he grabs for his phone.
Yep.
That's terrible. No, our Twitter is Nic Tys Videotapes. So you can follow us, actually,
Is that plural
Tys.
or singular?
No, it's just singular. Videotape. Videotape, sorry.
Nic Tys
Nic Tys Videotape. Yep.
Excellent.
You can follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
We're going to post. We'll be posting links to the episodes themselves once we figure out how to do all that stuff.
We will.
But this will be the last of the episodes that we're pre-recording, just to show you a little bit of the insight to our process.
Yeah.
So this will go up at the same time as episodes 2 and 1. Mm-hmm. So you'll be able to binge on Nic Tyson Videotape for a few hours.
And how amazing that would be for you. I'm so excited for you people out there.
You get to listen to us finding our feet and figuring out what the fuck we're talking about.
And if you're like me and if you hear about a podcast, you go all the way to the start. Like I literally have done this with a few podcasts.
I try to start at the first episode.
I go, you know what? I am going to go back, even though someone has told me about a certain episode, which is episode 40 or 80.
Yeah. If it's over 100 or so, I might not.
Oh, you might not?
I don't think life is short. But yes, anything less than 20, I'm like, no, I'll go to the start.
Go to the start, exactly.
Yeah. I like to see where we all
I'm a
came
completist.
From.
It's like watching a movie sequel before.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you, insane?
You've got to get to know us, and what better way to get to know us
than starting from the start?
Exactly. Another exciting news: we have some artwork that you're going to get to see.
Oh, we do.
We're very excited. I want to thank Jac D for that. She's done a killer
thank
job.
you.
I can't wait for you all to see that.
Oh, it's going to be so awesome.
And you can also Gmail us.
You could Gmail us. Tys, where would that be at?
That's Nic Tys and Videotape.
That's the one.
At gmail.com.
At gmail.com.
And we will practically answer any question you have.
Anything,
because we need content.
Exactly.
So,
and we would love for you to talk to us.
Yeah. You can ask us anything. You can ask about what movies we like, what we don't like.
What segments are coming up.
What segments are coming up.
What would you like to hear us talk about?
Yeah. And you can also help us name our segments.
Oh, my yes. And we would love for you to do that. We have 3 segments.
Yes.
We do. The segments are...
what's our first one?
Should we start with segments?
Why don't we get into it?
Oh, we'll jump into it. Okay. So the first segment is trailers. The trailers that we watched this week.
Yes, this is our trailer section. So it's
named segment. Trailers, but feel free to change that up.
Is that with a Z? Trailers with a Z?
No, it's called trailers. What did you watch this week? No, That's later.
That's later.
That's later.
It's neither of those things.
That's right.
But it is focused on trailers. We're going to talk about a few trailers that we've seen this week. Nick, do you want to go first for us?
Do you want me to start?
Well, in case we've got the same one, I've got sparesies.
Oh, you got sparesies.
Just in case.
Cool. Because I didn't watch that many trailers this week, and the one that I wanted to talk about that really stood out was, and I've been waiting for a decent trailer of it.
Yes,
was Trainspotting 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
And I'm a huge fan of the first one. Danny Boyle is great, and everyone's coming back. I believe it's
as
director,
far as I know.
writer, and cast have come back. Let me check on writer.
Trainspotting is a weird one for me.
Yeah.
It was it and a bit in 1998.
Yep.
I honestly could not tell you if I've seen it
really
since
98.
Since my 20s.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried that it's not going to be as.
I know, and that's the thing. It's. I think that's well, of course, with a lot of sequels, you don't think like this is the norm with a lot of movies. If the first is that good, there is, you kind of want to keep it. And I am, a person who does this in my head. If it's not broke, you don't need to, cash the cow in to make the next sequel. Do you know what I mean?
This doesn't feel like that though. This feels like it's a genuine attempt to continue the story and to tell the next part of their story.
Yeah.
Because it is, it's the same cast. It's Danny Boyle back again.
Yep. And it's the same writers.
It's based on a book by the same author.
But yeah, the adaptation, John Hodge, who did the first, is doing the second.
Great.
So I'm looking forward to it. Sorry, the trailer. Let's talk about the trailer. The trailer for the first one came out, and it literally just was a train running past that had all four of them standing there.
Sure.
And that was it. That was the teaser. But this trailer actually gives you a little bit of story, because these guys are in their late 40s, early 50s now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
That's
so
terrifying to think about.
Oh, fair enough.
What do you think of the trailer, though? It looks okay?
It looks good. Because it was
same kind of energy.
Yeah, exactly. It has that.
They're doing the choose stuff again, which I guess
works.
Sure.
You don't know. You kind of
I would have liked it if maybe they didn't use that. If they kind of stood away from that.
Yeah.
Because there's just something super naff about saying like choose Facebook and things like that. It's just kind of like.
But don't you think that kind of taps into where we are now? Like it is like the world has completely changed from 1991.
I think there are better choices of words. I think if you look at the first one, they're not as specific. Maybe.
Choose life, choose a big TV,
it's a bit more...
Choose a big couch, choose a big car, sort of thing.
Generalised information.
Okay, rather than... choose Facebook.
Yeah, which... What are you doing to a movie when you're talking about something that instantly dates your movie? I always feel is a bit dangerous.
Okay, yeah, good point.
Like if you think about a film from a couple of years ago that might have mentioned... Let's go 5 years ago, when you hear in movies people talk about MySpace and you giggle because you're like,
dated.
MySpace.
Yeah.
And it's instantly dated.
Absolutely.
Whereas at the time, you'd think MySpace is going to be around forever.
Yeah.
And we all think of that about Facebook.
Absolutely.
But who knows?
I really hope Facebook isn't around forever.
No.
I hope it dies a horrible death.
Yeah.
I really do. And I don't think anyone would care. To be honest.
No, I think too many people would care.
Exactly. And they would have to go outside, Tyson, and stop looking down at your phone on the train. Goddamn. But
as we both.
But I found
exactly.
Exactly. But I find that a little bit endearing in some things. I know what you're saying, but like I watched it was last year. I watched Wall Street for the first time. Oh no, for the second time, sorry. I revisited Wall Street, and it literally was a period piece, like with the phones that are as big as bricks and people faxing things over. Like,
well, there's a bit of that happening in our movie today that we're talking about. There's a bit of
yeah.
fantastic mobile phone from 1996, 95 kind of going on.
And that's it was so
See,
good.
that
So
doesn't
good.
disturb me too much because it's
In that,
it's an object that is technology. It's like having a laptop. You'll see a laptop in movies forever.
That's massive.
It's this branding information that I feel like dates a movie.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, but I'll probably see this at the cinema. I'm pretty excited.
Really? You'll see this at the cinema?
Yeah, I really like. I loved the first one. Like I loved it, but I
Okay.
just haven't watched it for so long.
revisited,
Almost
yeah.
out of fear of it
Yeah.
not being
No,
the
it's-
movie it was to me anymore.
No, it's still really good. And that's the thing. Trainspotting as well is not an easy watch. It's not like you can just, I'm just going to chuck on Trainspotting because of the topic of heroin.
Sure.
Like it is.
I feel like
hard
when I
watch.
was younger that I was almost...
There was a lot of drug movies when we were younger. Is
There
that what
were
you're
a
saying?
lot.
There was,
Every
wasn't there?
second movie was like the dangers of drugs.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
not even the coolness of drugs.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like maybe
Exactly.
some danger.
And then some danger ones.
maybe just a little
we'll
bit
watch.
of danger.
We'll watch some Blow, and then watch.
Blow.
Then we'll watch. What was it?
Go. I'm
Go.
going to rhyme.
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah.
rhyme.
Blow and Go. What a if
That's
you
a double
if you have a
feature.
cinema, play that as a double feature. But then you also had you had your Requiem and you had your Requiem for a
See,
Dream. And
I
you had
think
your,
Requiem is
your-
that's what you're explaining to me. That's the one that I watch and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
like I can't.
so you
I don't want to watch that again. Trainspotting to me
Yep.
felt, because it was so at the time it was so kind of raw and it was so energized
Uh-huh.
that even those moments that are quite disturbing,
Yeah. But it's not the end of.
it doesn't make it. It doesn't. It's not a victory when he gives up heroin in a sense. It's not that kind of.
Oh no, it's a hard slog. It deals with it in a way that yes, he is an addict.
It makes it almost less it makes his life less glamorous when he's off
the drugs. Yeah.
So even though there's baby death and
Very, very full on.
which is terrifying,
Yeah.
and like there's that amazing sequence when he's going cold turkey, which is just incredible.
That everyone knows through the toilet.
Well, that's like, to me that was still when it was fun and funny.
Okay.
In the movie, because it does the thing with the subtitles, the worst toilet in
Yeah.
Dublin.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like
it's
it's still trying to be funny.
It was still
Oh,
okay.
you would you call it a comedy? Black comedy?
I
definitely
don't know.
laugh watching it.
There's laughing moments, but there is equal parts really dramatic moments as well.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know where I'll put it. Where would you put Trainspotting?
Yeah, that's interesting. Why don't you email us?
Email us in and tell where
Where
would
does
you
it
put
sit on your
Trainspotting?
shelf?
Seriously,
Do you have sections for genres? That's my next.
I do, and my Trainspotting is in my director's section. Unfortunately,
Oh, well,
with
there
my
you go.
Danny Boyle. So,
See that's an interesting.
yeah. I've kind of skipped the puddle there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what trailer did you watch
Yeah,
this
we
week?
talked about that a while, didn't we?
Yeah, it was good though.
Well, I'm going to talk about 2 today.
Go for it.
So how many? I'll start with this one. I'll start with one.
Yep.
I saw this trailer for a film called Brimstone.
Right.
Now, this looks fucking great.
Right.
I know very little about it.
Okay.
It stars Dakota Fanning
Oh.
as a mute woman living in like very early colonial times.
Okay.
Who, in this small town, it's like the Old West.
Yeah.
Like really early though, it appears.
Yeah.
And to this town comes Guy Pearce
Love Guy Pearce.
as an evil pastor.
Right.
In the Australian accent, that sounds really dumb. As an evil pastor.
An evil pastor. Gmail us in and tell us how much you love our quaint Australian accents. Tyson is trying to say that he is a man of the faith.
Yes, that is correct.
He is a man of the faith.
He is a reverend.
He's a reverend. He's
a pastor, if you will.
You're making it worse.
And it looks very interesting, like really intense. It seems like he's come to this town with the goal of
curing the town.
Having revenge on Dakota Fanning and her family for some reason, which we do not know.
Right.
And we don't know why she's mute. We don't know what happened. Guy Pearce has this killer scar down his face. So all through the trailer, you're kind of trying to put two and two together. What's happening here?
Yep.
It's a European film.
Okay.
It apparently was joint financed by about 6 different European countries.
Ooh.
Because the director, who I've never seen anything by, he appears to be a Dutch director.
Okay.
And I cannot pronounce his name. Do you want to have a stab at it?
Koolhoven?
Sure.
I believe. Martin Koolhoven.
Koolhoven?
Yeah. Let's say that because it sounds,
Apparently, according to the trivia, was approached to make the film in America, but because he wanted final cut, he refused.
Nice way to get it.
Ended up getting financed from 6 different European countries.
Wow.
And I'm like, and way to go getting Guy Pearce, who I will watch practically in anything.
Always brings the gold. Always brings the gold.
And it looks really intense. I'm on board.
And Kit Harington is in it.
Yeah, see, I don't know what's...
Jon Snow.
Yeah, he's playing a role that I can't quite figure out what he's there for. I can't tell if he's in
playing
flashbacks or if he's actually there while it's happening.
Makes me want to watch the trailer now.
Yeah.
That's
and
good.
Also, if by chance anyone looks it up on IMDb, the poster is balls. It is a horrible poster. It is floating heads over some horses.
I wish someone would say to the companies, floating heads is not a thing.
Because, sorry to interrupt, I saw this poster and went, what is this piece of shit?
Yep.
Disregarded, then later was just scrolling through some trailer channels and was like, oh, this sounds interesting. So the poster wasn't even bad enough for me to remember the title. It was just so generically bad.
Right.
So I think it'll be it's going
to be straight to DVD?
Well, is
Not
that even a
on
thing
Blu-ray.
anymore? I don't know if that happens. It will be an iTunes direct. I think it'll be VOD. I don't think it'll be something that'll hit cinemas, but I am very excited to watch it. It looks very cool.
I don't know, Kit Harington, he could have a release. No?
No. Well, because he's attempted a movie career a few times.
He has. He's given it a red hot go. I think he hasn't. He just haven't. Well, this is the thing. See, I think these people, it doesn't really matter where you are, just as long as you got your foot in the door. And he does have his foot in the door. That's the thing. And later on in life, he could just come up, just like Bryan Cranston. No one thought that Malcolm in the Middle's dad was going to become anything.
It's true.
And then bang, Breaking Bad comes out and everyone wants Bryan Cranston. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Exactly.
And he's getting that sweet Power Rangers money, so he's definitely doing well for himself.
Excuse me. I've had this... No, I can't talk.
But what about... Kit Harington is one of about 40,000 people in that show that everyone thinks is good. And they can't all be movie stars, unfortunately.
That's true.
So he's had his attempt. He had Pompeii.
He did.
Which is fine.
Is that the one with where he was like shirtless on the cover? What was that one? That's the one
that's Pompeii. Yes.
That's all.
So that was just the 3D special effects extravaganza.
Yeah, exactly.
It was fine. It was actually relatively watchable.
Okay. All right. Well done.
Kiefer Sutherland plays the bad guy in it.
I'm in.
And I was like,
really?
that was pretty... He was pretty entertaining.
See, I'll watch anything.
And the special effects were interesting enough. Like it was the volcano erupting and
stuff coming at the screen.
It was all that kind of stuff.
3D, you suck.
It's the worst.
It is.
So that was a watchable movie, but there was that awful Silent Hill sequel that he was also in.
Really?
Silent Hill Revelations, which was near unwatchable. And I don't know how many chances you get. And he's 5th build or something in this, so...
So a little bit of truth here. I actually have Silent Hill Revelations and I haven't watched it yet. I didn't know he was in it. I love the first Silent Hill.
Yeah,
that's why.
Me too.
Kit Harington. Yeah, but the thing is, with these people in this show, they're all going to get a chance to be in movies now. They are big names. Like
they'll all get a chance.
Exactly. But the thing is,
what they do with that chance will determine almost the rest of their career, really.
Yeah, that's true.
What are we fucking talking about?
We went off on a tangent. We went off. But that's okay. What was your second trailer?
Second trailer? Well, today, just today,
yep.
The full trailer for Beauty and the Beast was released.
I have okay. Before you say anything, let me say a little piece. Because of Jungle Book and things like that, you know, they Disney has come out and they've said that we are doing live action versions of all their movies. They have said that. Snow White and the Huntsman did really well. I'm being sarcastic.
I liked that movie.
Really?
Yes.
Tyson? Oh, this is hilarious. Okay, moving on. Jungle Book was okay, but
Yes,
Beauty
we've
and the
talked about
Beast is one of the ones that, if you get this wrong, I'm going to be quite angry.
Yes.
So
this is one of the only ones I have a quite a strong affinity for as well. This and probably Lion King.
Okay.
And strangely enough, Hunchback of Notre Dame, because that was the one I watched the most when I was young. I think I loved that one.
I love that one. But yeah, I haven't watched anything. I haven't watched. I've kept away from everything so I can just watch the movie on itself. Yeah,
there was a teaser that was practically nothing. It was just some sets.
Oh yeah, and the rose
pedal.
I saw that.
Then there was a slightly longer teaser which had some footage and you could see some people. And now we have an actual full-length trailer. Yeah, it's got some story elements to it. It's got some of the song.
Okay.
Elements. You don't hear anyone singing yet, which always kind of worries me.
Okay.
But they have shots of choreography and shots that are clearly from certain songs that we know of.
Yep.
It looks like a complete recreation of the cartoon.
Right.
It looks like they have
shot for shot.
It looks almost shot for shot.
Really?
I'm looking at stuff going, I remember that shot from the cartoon. It's having a really strange effect as I watch it because I don't understand. Like, if we're going to do it, what's the point?
Right.
If we're just putting humans where the cartoons were,
what's wrong with just watching the cartoon?
Let's watch the cartoon.
Exactly.
So I'm hoping that that's not the case. Don't have a lot of faith in Bill Condon anymore as a director.
Oh, okay. Because of
he directed the last two Twilight films. And
you just nailed in the coffin.
Well, this is the thing. Like, say what you like about the Twilight movies. They're not good. But those last two reached an extra level of badness somehow.
I do love the fact a little bit that in this duo of Nic Tyson videotapes, we do have one of us that have seen all the Twilight movies.
I have seen all of them. I saw the first...
Oh,
I've definitely seen at least two at a cinema as well. Of all things.
God.
Anyway,
okay, keep going.
The first one, there's no point spending too much time, but they're on a grading scale of shitness. The last two somehow are worse than the other three.
Right.
And I put it squarely at the feet of Bill Condon, who it appears as though when you watch this film, there is not a single tangible quality about it. I feel like when I watch it, aside from the house that they spend the entirety of the film in talking, there's not a single thing that I feel like a cast member could reach out and touch.
Right.
And it's obviously a lot of CGI environments, you know, which is fine. Sometimes that happens, and it happens in all movies. What am I talking about? Yeah. CGI environments, and we just saw a really kind of great example of it with Jungle Book, where it worked pretty effectively.
It did. It worked really well.
I felt that it was tangible.
A full jungle, and it looked amazing. Yeah.
This was completely the opposite. I feel like that it was very clear that they were standing on a soundstage.
Right.
And the trailer for Beauty and the Beast is giving me the same feeling.
Right.
When I look at it, I don't feel weight to the surroundings. I don't feel like I could touch any part of it. And that's the worrying thing about it. Like, when you've got a giant beast man who looks like a CGI giant beast man. Like, CGI, we're in a good place for CGI at the moment. We're getting a lot better.
Yeah.
We can have characters that we believe. We've already talked about this to a certain degree last week.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it yet for him.
Okay.
And especially for, like, the teacups and... Lumiere,
Mrs. Potts, and Cogsworth.
They're not doing it for me yet.
Do you think maybe that the cast will be able to pull you out of that if they do a good enough job?
Well, that's
Casting.
Yes, that's what happens. in
Casting.
that-
Yeah, exactly.
If when I stop caring about what they look like, it means that the story is achieving what it's meant to achieve.
Yeah.
And it is a very lovable story. It's a very easily likable on an engaging level. Like
Yeah.
it's you. It's not one of those movies where you have to work hard to engage with the characters.
Yep, that's true.
So perhaps it will. I'm very apprehensive at the moment.
Does it? Can I ask a question? Because this is why I haven't watched anything. Does the trailer? Do you think I should watch the trailer? Will it give it away? Will I get pissed off?
There's potential
one.
for it,
Right.
because there's an awful kind of not pop, but there's a contemporary version of
What?
the song of Beauty and the Beast sung by someone who is probably a thing at the moment, and it sounds a little naff.
I'm not watching it.
But there is some imagery that looks great, but it's
Okay.
all from the cartoon.
Right.
It's all,
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna be bold,
bold.
and I'm gonna give it a shot.
All right, I like
Yeah.
it. I look forward to you
Yeah.
getting back to me, letting you know. Did you have another trailer you want to talk about?
No, that was it for me. I only watched.
That's trailers
That's
with a
trailers
Z.
with a Z. That's
Done for the
trailers
week.
with a Z.
Yeah.
The next is what did you watch this week, Tys? Which is another segment that we have, which you can make a
better name for.
a better name for,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. Please do. But yeah, moving on. What did you watch this week, Tys?
Well, I'm going to start with.
Go for it.
It was a movie from, and I'm just going to double check the year because what year it came out is quite important.
Oh, I'm intrigued now.
No, there's no reason to be.
Please don't.
Oh yes, that's what I watched. I watched from 1997, Chasing Amy.
Oh, nice. Kevin Smith.
Correct.
What a champ. Yeah.
He's okay.
He's
I don't have
You don't
the
like
biggest.
Kevin Smith?
No, that's a lie. I am.
What's wrong with Kevin?
I like Kevin Smith. I've never had the huge affinity for him that a lot of other people have had.
Okay.
But he did make movies that were super important to 15-year-old me.
That's true. In the 90s, he was
Yes.
he was the boss.
Now,
He was
Chasing
the
Amy
boss.
was probably the most important of his films
Okay.
to me.
Yep.
16-year-old me
Yep.
thought it was
The Duck's Guts.
sure. I've never heard that.
You've never heard that?
The Duck's
Hours.
Guts.
That's so Australian.
No, that's
I
good.
thought we'd bring us back down to home.
But you're on the right track.
It was amazing.
It was amazing to me because it was so truthful, and I was like, someone gets it, someone understands. Right? Maybe 15's probably a little bit too young.
Yeah.
16,
16,
17. The me
Yeah.
that was trying to deal with teenage adolescent relationships
Yeah.
and feeling like they were
Girls in general.
just like I
and
was
how
in
they all
love and it
hated
was
us.
the most painful experience and blah blah blah.
It was.
And
It
this
so
movie
was.
spoke to me, right? And I'm like, man, Holden,
This guy gets it.
this guy whose character name is Holden, by the way,
Yeah.
gets it.
Yeah.
He gets it. And watching it now, it's
Did it hold up?
well, I don't
Oh,
think that's a fair
no.
question.
Okay.
It does not hold up by 2017 not standards, but ideas of this kind of movie.
Okay.
A movie like this could never exist in 2017.
Right.
It exists only in 1997.
Right. The reason?
It's so unaware of its lameness. And there's no other way to put it because it is so sincere and it's trying really hard to say these quite poignant things about
Yeah.
love and relationships.
Yeah.
The execution is just so lame
Oh, okay.
that it is more you are rolling your eyes at everything that every
yeah.
character says because they sound like the most awful people. You do not want to spend any time with any of these characters. But in 1997, they were the coolest and the smartest, and they
Exactly.
got it,
That's
man.
because people changed the way that they spoke back then, you know. Plus, this was Kevin Smith's third
It
film.
was his third film,
Was his
but
third
I
film?
don't. The funny thing is, I don't have that effect when I watch Mallrats because
okay.
it is just a silly, fun movie where
that's true. This was his first take at doing something a little bit more serious. It was funny, a little bit more serious, but he also had something
even
to say.
a lot of the gags don't hold up anymore. They get really painful in certain ways because, for instance, a scene that killed when I was 17 is the scene between Joey Lauren Adams and Jason Lee, who character names I cannot think for the life of me at the moment.
I'll get to you.
Banky and Alyssa.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I got there. Talking about the injuries they've sustained while getting jiggy with certain people.
Right.
17-year-old me loved that scene. It was so funny,
Yeah.
really hilarious. And she's so cool because she's a lesbian and she's talking about how she's going down on chicks, and it's really she's so open with her sexuality. And I'm like, this is what it's about, man. It's unwatchable.
Can I pose a question?
Yes. Was
it fun? Was it fun watching this movie because you hadn't had those experiences yet, Tys? As a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid, I know because I was in the exact same position, watching people being free with how they're talking about this stuff, it makes you feel like, yes, why don't I have friends like that and talk like that? And why don't I have a lesbian friend who's cool and badass and just looks as hot as, what was her name? Joey Lauren Adams.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a part of it. There's a certain envy. I'm envying their lifestyle.
Right.
Because they're out at a bar, they're smoking, they're talking about sex, they're being really free and open, they're cool people.
Yep.
Yes, 15, 16-year-old me obviously would have loved that lifestyle in the sense that it makes you feel more grown up.
Yeah.
But these people don't behave like grown-ups.
Right.
Watching it now, you're just just stop it. This is what I mean by it. It is just shut up and behave like adults.
Yeah.
There are some. I do want to add. There are some very forward-thinking approaches to sexuality in the movie. She is, which is great. Mm-hmm. She's not at all ashamed of her sexual choices, which is refreshing.
Yeah,
they don't try to put any blame on her for her actions. Which.
I haven't seen it in ages.
Well, do you remember the finger cuffs thing? Which kind of becomes the whole reason why Holden tries to break up with her because she was nicknamed Finger Cuffs, and you can use your imagination.
Sure.
But they try not. They don't put the blame. They don't say that she's a slut or anything. They're really openly letting her own those decisions, and that's something that didn't exist very much in 97. I think that's a healthy view. Yep. But then you've got a character like Banky who is dropping the F
every 5 seconds.
And not the one that we dropped, the one for our queer brothers.
Right.
Quite regularly.
Okay. Right. Okay.
And they then try to cover it with the fact that he's perhaps maybe hiding some closeted homosexuality himself.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, that doesn't fly, man. It just doesn't fly anymore.
Yeah, fair deal.
And it makes it kind of hard to watch.
Yeah.
And it was disappointing in that way because I felt it had been a while since I'd seen it.
Yep.
But I thought it would maintain. I thought its ideas and its energy would translate to now, regardless. It would be like when you watch something and you go, it's old, but it knows what it's on the right track.
Yeah.
And I feel like that this had some ideas that are still relevant and are still worth supporting, but on the whole was just not executed in a way that you can look back on any other way other than a time capsule of 1997,
which was badass.
What did you watch, Nick?
Oh, what did I watch? Yeah, let's do me. Okay, so I watched 2. How are we going for time, Tys?
We're doing okay.
We're doing okay. Okay, well, I watched 2. One, I'm going to talk about both.
Yeah, I'm probably going to talk about my second one after
good.
you. So
I'm going to start with one. I unfortunately inflicted this on my wife. Is that a good way to say it?
It depends what movie it is.
Okay, well, it was Deliverance.
Oh,
yeah. Because Deliverance is quite a well-known movie. Everyone knows it for certain things. I remember thinking that, well, clearly my wife has to watch it because I'm trying to, there are movies that are out there that are in the past that everyone should see, such as like 2001 Space Odyssey or
absolutely.
things that you haven't seen. So I thought this was one of them. Clearly I was wrong. Deliverance doesn't hold up, Tys, unfortunately.
That's a very big shame.
It is, unfortunately. Look at the first half an hour is great. The setup of it is so it's about four guys who go to literally just go kayaking, and they go to the south to do this for a specific river. I forget, the name escapes me, but it's a very famous river. Anyway, so they go and they meet some lovely southern gentlemen who kind of lack their pretty mouth, and it gets really, really upsetting. Unfortunately, after the initial attack by these southerners, the movie takes a dive and is just, turns into a lot of yelling for no reason.
Okay.
A lot of still, like, I understand if you're going to set up, there are reasons for long shots, and maybe we should hold the camera on him because, he could be thinking about what's going to happen, how he's going to, but it didn't sell it to me. It didn't convey this very well.
Sure.
So it just felt like you haven't turned the camera off and you're just wasting time.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? So I was, and that's how it felt. It didn't take away from, it did have some really great elements in there, and the acting was hilarious, especially everything from Burt Reynolds, who I love. But
and we all love a bit of Burt.
But yeah,
I think I love the idea of Burt Reynolds
more than the acting.
Because I will watch Norm Macdonald play him on Celebrity Jeopardy on Saturday Night Live. Probably more than I would watch the actual Burt Reynolds.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a funny hat. That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was I wanted to like it. I really did. And I love the cover. It's a drawn cover, Deliverance. Came out in 1972, and it's the double barrel shotty coming out of the water and them in the distance.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really
nice. I'm
nice.
imagining the shitty DVD that
exactly. Exactly. Go the original.
Yeah, it's always that original artwork, man. It's always the
Came
best.
with the original.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would have been awesome for the time, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Like, it's really quite messed up to see a man.
It's funny. It's one of the
buggered.
Yeah. Oh, good choice. Yeah, good choice.
Yeah.
It's funny, of all the movies that my mother would talk to me about.
Really?
It was all because she must have seen it at some point, because it was huge apparently when it came out. It was huge, super successful.
It would have been.
So she had seen it and was always said to me, it was like, oh, you want to see a scary movie? You want to see like a
exactly, and it really
it's like our it's our Serbian film. It's their version of that or something.
Yeah,
the kind of movie that you'd whisper to your friends like, do you want to know what's
fucked up? Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, it conveyed that really well at the start. Like, I legit, like, you wouldn't go, like, if someone said to me, oh yeah, we're going to go kayaking down to the south. Fuck off. I'm not doing that. What are you, insane? Have you seen Deliverance? Do you know what I mean? Like, it still has that effect on you. Yeah. But it was all right.
Cool.
You've got to, I don't know, for some reason I feel people have to watch it, if not for just the two iconic Squeal Like a Pig and You Got a Pretty Mouth, which is literally what that is from.
Everyone knows.
Exactly. Dueling Banjos, everyone knows. Which is quite one of the scariest parts in the movie, because the kid who is doing the Dueling Banjos is quite scary. He looks like, do you remember the TV show? You probably won't if you're not in Australia, for our listeners. But do you remember the TV show Lift Off, Tys?
Oh, I do.
You do? Do you remember the doll EC, Tys?
Oh, no, I don't.
Oh, really? You don't? Seriously, this kid gave this doll gave Australian children nightmares for years. And I'm telling you, if you put Lift Off on, and if you were to have a house party and put Lift Off on, you would clear a room with that. Oh, it's horrible.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, my point is the kid who was doing the Dueling Banjos looks like EC from
Sure,
but just with eyes.
EC doesn't have eyes.
EC doesn't have eyes. That's the scary part about him.
I remember what you're talking about.
That's okay. I'll show you a photo later.
Please do. I'm intrigued.
But yeah, shall we go one for one? Do you want to do one now?
I'll talk about my next one.
Go on, do it.
So I saw Black Rain for the first time.
Really?
Yes.
Michael Douglas?
Yeah.
Wow. I haven't seen it.
It was great.
Yeah.
I've
always been intrigued. The cover looks badass.
I was super excited. Let's full disclosure, we went and had a little JB Hi-Fi trip not too long ago.
We did. That's true.
And we bought ourselves a few Blu-rays each. One of them that I purchased was Black Rain because I saw it was part of this deal, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I love Michael Douglas. Yeah. For some reason, he's just I would never, if you told me like name the greatest movie stars of all time or the hugest ones from the 80s and 90s, I probably wouldn't think of him.
Oh, okay.
But
he was the guy. He was the go-to guy.
And I love everything he's in. Well, to certain degrees. But it's really hard to find a performance of his that I at least don't kind of enjoy from that era.
Goods. Oh my God, Ridley Scott? Really?
And here we go. So it's directed by Ridley Scott.
Sorry,
and
it's gun there.
It's 89. I think it was 1989.
Yeah.
So we're talking like peak Ridley Scott time.
Right.
This is a pretty great time to be a Ridley Scott fan.
Yeah.
And he's made what is potentially one of the better crime thrillers that I've ever seen. I really enjoyed this movie. It's got a real it's based around a two police officers that are trying to transport a Yakuza mobster back to Japan.
Right.
And once they get there, they actually lose him.
Right.
Like, it's quite easy.
Cool.
Because they obviously don't speak Japanese, and they have some people that
some
just kind of walk up and take him.
Right.
And they think that they're handing him over to the cops, but they're handing him back to the Yakuza.
Whoa, decent.
So it ends up being a huge kind of, there's this massive language barrier. It's this real kind of lost in translation effect where they're trying to find this guy, and everywhere they turn, they just feel like strangers. The way Japan is filmed, it's like Blade Runner.
I thought, because Ridley,
yeah, and
it's
he's taken everything that he did in Blade Runner and converted it into 1989 Japan.
Yeah.
So there's just this neon and this dirtiness and the rain, and it just looks fantastic.
Yeah,
and really kind of the kind of movie that doesn't get made anymore. It's a grown-up adult thriller.
Because it's a hard... I remember seeing it at the video store when I worked at the video store. It's a hard R, isn't it? It's
no longer that. That may have been the case. But that's happened to quite a few things. I remember when, like, videos when I was a kid, and I'd pick them. I would always, if I saw an R rating, I'd be like, oh,
yeah, look at that.
That must be the best.
I know.
And now the movies that I remember that had R ratings, I pick up now, and
them.
they have M ratings. Yeah. Like they've been changed over time.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think this has been dropped down to an MA or an M.
All right.
But it does have some moments of some pretty intense violence in it.
Yeah.
It's got a really great early performance from Andy Garcia.
I love Andy Garcia.
Who I'm a huge fan of. He's a really likable character in this.
Yeah.
Michael Douglas is doing what he does, and it's great. And he's the protagonist, but they make him really kind of shady. He's not a good dude, and I really loved that they didn't try to sugarcoat the fact that he's a dirty cop. He's on the take. He's and he just happens to be trying to do the right thing, despite being not a very good dude.
Okay.
And there's also a really interesting use of language in the film, the way that they talk to each other.
Okay.
They refer to each other as babe a lot.
The Andy Garcia and Michael Douglas.
And they refer to all other people as when they're at a bar and they're talking to the male bartender.
Yeah.
They're like, I'll just have a soda, thanks, babe.
Right. Okay.
Or when they're at the police station and they're like, get me that file. It's like, get me that file, babe.
Oh, wow.
And I found it really interesting. And I was like, this is bizarre. Is this
am I missing something?
Was this something that happened in 1989 that I totally missed? I mean,
You would have been 8.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would have been 7-year-old going, hey, babe. It wouldn't have worked too well.
Yeah.
But I found it really interesting that it almost created that vibe, like obviously to a very lesser extent, but the same way like a movie like Brick defines its environment by its language.
By the language, yeah.
I thought it was doing something similar to that, and I was really enjoying it. I thoroughly recommend it. One of those kind of forgotten.
It's always been
thrillers.
Literally. I love judging movies by their covers, and that was one of the covers that I was like, I need to watch that.
It's like
awesome.
he looks like a badass.
He
He's got
literally
this
does.
leather jacket and the neon
Crossed
lights.
arms
And he's
and
got the big
massive
sunnies.
aviators and
Yeah.
Michael Douglas.
Yeah, get on it,
Awesome.
man. I've got it on
Awesome.
Blu-ray now. So.
Yeah.
Score.
Nice.
What did you watch, man? What was the second one?
My second one was actually getting geared up, Tyson, for the Oscars.
Oh.
It is nominated for. It is in the nominations this year for Best Animated Feature.
Oh.
I watched Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yes.
And what a lovely piece of work.
I loved it.
It was so original for me.
Yes.
You know, it was just something different for once, you know. It wasn't I didn't have as much fun with it as I did Incredibles or Inside Out, but it still was up there for me. It was just something refreshing rather than a Pixar that's going to come, you know, I don't know, there's something with Pixar that, you know, really brings the emotions or brings everything, but this was just very subtly under the water.
Well, Pixar
you know.
can't really be accused of being subtle. I think that's
they do stick it in your face.
Sometimes it works,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'm a blubbering mess at the end of a Pixar film,
absolutely. Or
and
even
other
the start.
times I find myself kind of numb to it because I'm like, okay,
Okay.
you're doing the same tricks, but for whatever reason, this one didn't work on me.
Okay.
Like Inside Out, for instance.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't really have an emotional connection to Inside Out.
Yeah.
Whereas I watched, what's another Pixar one that I'm
Up.
obsessed with? Ratatouille.
Right.
Ratatouille is my
Really?
favorite. And
Really?
I think it's just beautiful, and
Okay.
there are moments in that I am just a
You're
mess.
a blubbering mess,
Yeah.
right.
But I found that Kubo,
Yeah. So you've seen Kubo?
yes,
Yeah.
it sneaks the emotional content into it.
Yeah, exactly.
All of a sudden, you just are so like taken by it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you thought, because I never thought it was going to be like a funny kids film. I knew that it was going to be a
more on
little
the
bit more
serious side,
serious.
but I didn't realize how serious either. Like jumping straight in and with how you know, vacant the mother was with him. I was really taken. I was like, "What? This is a bit full on, isn't it?"
And
kids?
I was kind of doing this thing because I avoided anything to do with it. I just heard that it was excellent.
Yeah.
And that's all I needed to know. I was like, great, I'll watch it. And I was trying to create things. I was like because I try to work things out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, if this is like, because she was obviously very vacant.
Yeah.
And then almost came to life
Yeah.
and started telling the story.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, if this is his imagination and she's a
passed
mute
away,
or she's dead,
Or
and
she's dead.
I can't handle this.
I know.
I'm gonna be done. Because it's
Exactly. But I thought it was like and they don't really go into it too much. I'm trying not to spoil anything.
No.
But in my head I did the same thing, and I thought, is this early Alzheimer's? Are we tackling Alzheimer's as a cartoon now? Like, is that where we are at? And I didn't want it to be that. I'm like, no, come on. I want a bit of, let's have a bit of fun with this animated film. But no, it did pull on the serious strings quite a lot.
Yes,
but
and
it was great.
I was worried watching it the whole time that it was going to be one of those films where the fantastical elements weren't real, and they were a character's way of dealing with something.
Yeah,
and I mean, this isn't a spoiler. This was probably just because I didn't actually know anything about the movie. I feel like I might have created that out of nowhere. My fear of that.
Yeah,
I feel like if you watch it without that fear, it's just a fucking good movie.
Yeah.
What I loved about it is that it didn't ever rely on that conceit to get the emotional content out of it. It got the same emotional content out of it while being this crazy, fantastical story.
Yeah, yeah.
So it never tried to sucker punch you with like,
he's actually just a kid.
He's actually just dreaming.
It's so true. Yeah, you did jump into the fantasy world that was his, and you believed in magic, and you had to,
and you had to, and it happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it was happening.
That's what was
happening.
And
I loved it. I loved that element to it. Fuck, those witches were terrifying.
How scary were they?
Oh
my god, they were scary. They were so good. It was such a nice balance. I think that one of the reasons why I liked it was that it was almost bringing it back to old 80s kids movies, such as, The Dark Crystal, Never Ending Story, and Return to Oz.
Yeah, that's probably pretty good.
It's more for, we're not going to treat our kids, with all the cotton wool in the world. The world isn't full of cotton wool, and the world is hard, and sometimes you have to deal with it. But in the way that this did, it was, we're going to show you some scary things, and they are. Well,
it's the same. It's the same production company that made Coraline as well, and that's
wow, really. I didn't know that.
That's a very similar movie in the sense that it's made for kids, but if you're not a kid with a certain. Well, I don't know. That's harsh on kids, because when I was a kid, I fucking loved scary shit.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Yeah.
But it didn't pad them with cotton wool.
Yeah.
You could sit a kid in front of it and be like, "You're going to have a really good time, buddy."
Exactly.
This is not going to sugarcoat any of it. You're going to shit your pants, maybe, but you're going to have a great time.
Meanwhile, my wife turned Coraline off because it was too scary.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's it for what did we watch this week?
Is that it?
Yeah, let's move on, because we're running late. We're always running long.
All right. Well, we are going to be talking about Die Hard with a Vengeance.
We are. Welcome to our conversation on Die Hard with a Vengeance
with Nic, Tys, and Videotapes. Here we go.
So, Nick, I'm going to let you start because you decided
to watch it.
You were the one that suggested it. So I want you to tell me, what is your...
Give me a question. I would like a question.
What's the reason for choosing, of the 3 Die Hards worth talking about, why
3?
Why 3?
Because, and I'm probably going to get some flack for this, and by all means, write in and give me your flack, but it is up there. It is still up there. If someone were to say it's one of, I'm not going to put it in the best 10 or the best 20 or the best 100 or whatever, but I am going to say it is one of the best action movies of all time. It is up there. Is it for me? Is it better than 1, 2, 4, 5? Absolutely, it's better than them.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna land my feet.
Okay.
I'm gonna put my foot down. But yeah, Die Hard 3 for me was the one that just stood out the most because of so many things that I can go into, which we will. But yeah, this is the one that I wanted us to talk about because it is easy to talk about. Everyone has an opinion on it. I've never met a person who doesn't like Die Hard with a Vengeance. How could you not?
I think it's very difficult to not like this movie.
Yeah.
I think it's, but that's almost it's very well crafted in that sense because I think as soon as you start to kind of look deeper into Die Hard with a Vengeance, I feel like it falls apart pretty quickly.
Right.
But it's not a movie designed.
No, it's not. You're not meant to look into it.
You're not meant to look into it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not meant to be I Heart Huckabees. It's meant to be, it's
sure.
It's not meant to be. It's a thing that you chuck on and love and turn up really loud with your surround sound sonos system. And
I assume then this is the one that you've seen the most.
It is
of the Die Hards.
Absolutely the one I've seen.
Okay,
the most.
so
it was the one that introduced me to Samuel L. Jackson as well. That's the first Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, I think it might have been the first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, this is something I want to mention later as well. We'll get to that. For me, the one I've seen the most, is Die Hard 2.
What? Really? Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So
yep.
If someone asked me what is my favorite Die Hard movie,
yeah,
I'd probably say Die Hard 2.
Oh, okay.
If someone asked me which is objectively the best
Die Hard,
it's Die Hard 1.
It's Die Hard 1.
It has to be.
Does it have to be?
I feel like it's...
Why is that? Why?
Because
why is one...
It is airtight, Die Hard 1. It is... You can comb through that film, especially that screenplay.
Right.
It is flawless as an action film.
Uh-huh.
I feel.
Okay. You feel there are holes in Die Hard with a Vengeance?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay.
Yes, I believe so.
All right, go for it.
And not for any... That's not its fault.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, this is where I'm getting to, is that I don't think it's a problem to say that something is your favorite.
Yep. If it has...
While acknowledging... That it has one that is
holes.
your less favorite is structurally and technically better.
A better film.
I think that's
table,
fine.
Sure.
I don't find that a problem. I'm happy having that conversation with anybody.
Sure.
Because otherwise every conversation you have about movies is going to be boring.
Because my way is my way or the highway. And get
because
fucked.
because that's the best,
Absolutely.
and there's no further conversation necessary.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of like, well, okay, but you feel like With a Vengeance has a lot of meritable things worth talking about.
Absolutely.
I feel like number 2 has many things worth talking about in it.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't think either really technically can hold a candle to the first.
It is awesome, isn't it? It is awesome. I'm not gonna. Yeah, it is.
Look, and we're not here to talk about the first one. We can put.
Brought it up.
Yeah, I know. Because I just wanted to stir shit.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, it is. It is good, but for me, Die Hard with a Vengeance is the better of
Sure.
the.
I will.
Unfortunately,
There are certain parts to it that I think work
better.
better in it to its strengths better. I think it's more. There's a better sense of fun.
Yep.
In the third one. The first one is quite serious. There are John McClane himself as a character in the first one is a little bit more jovial.
Yep.
But the movie has more elements of fun to it. Like
you're talking about 1?
No, 3.
3.
3
yeah.
has a bit more fun with the premise.
Absolutely.
Being able to letting them loose on the city.
Yeah.
Giving him a bit of room to breathe.
Yep.
Works for John McClane.
Yeah, it really does.
Works
because
in his favour.
In 1, he was constricted to Nakatomi Tower, and in 2, he was constricted to the airport.
Yes.
Yes, and now he has the full city of Manhattan.
He does.
Okay.
So, okay.
But
Seeing as this is your favourite,
yeah.
I think this might be fun. Is that if I ask you certain questions
yeah,
about
I
things,
would love
and we'll
that.
see what you think. Okay. So,
yeah.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, ask me some questions.
Asking you some questions.
Yeah.
Things that came up to me while I was watching it.
Yeah, go for it.
I enjoy this movie immensely.
Yeah.
I have a very good time watching it. This time especially, though, and it might have been just through the fault of the fact that we were going to talk about it.
Yeah. That you have to look at it.
I had to find things that I wanted to talk about. And so I ended up kind of not finding negative things that I want to talk about. It just so happens that most of the things I did want to talk about were negative. There's a few things that I would love to talk about that are positive.
Okay.
But I'll start with the negatives.
Sure.
It's good to finish with the positives.
Let me just start off by saying there is only one bit that I didn't like about this movie.
Sure.
One bit.
Just one bit.
One bit. That was it.
Okay.
Everything I loved. Keep going. Go.
All right.
Go,
Okay.
Tys.
This will be an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
So, to me, this is not... I'm going to start. How do you feel about this as a representation of John McClane? Because, to me...
Yep.
I feel like this is the beginning of the John McClane that we don't recognize anymore. That is very much what is in the 5th movie, where it might as well just be a different
Bruce
character.
Willis.
It's just Bruce Willis.
Yeah, it's just
This
Bruce
feels
Willis.
like the start of that to me.
No, I disagree.
Okay.
Only because and one of the reasons why I do love this movie is the start of it does not it is a sequel in every sense of the word. And if you haven't seen Die Hard 1, then you're kind of not going to get a couple of things. It doesn't give you standard introductions to characters. It doesn't give you that this is John McClane, this is who he's about. It literally chucks you in the deep end and goes, no, John McClane is an alcoholic. He has been suspended.
I love his character introduction. It's one of the things in the Police Fan. I think it's actually a really clever way that we're not as audience members forced to catch up with the police
what he's
plan.
doing. Exactly.
We're just there, and it's like,
we're
going to find
John
out when we need to know.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's
which is super effectively.
Yeah,
the reason why I ask is because, and I know it's probably due to what has happened with him and his family, and it is a general kind of progression of the character, but I miss...
You miss Holly?
Well, I miss Holly as a catalyst for him, as a driving
inspiration,
point, as a driving force,
yeah.
because I think it does it's important to him.
Okay.
To have that for him, not to him, for him.
I found it refreshing that she wasn't there.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, he can care about other things as well.
Yeah,
but what I found interesting is that I don't believe that character would have done what he did with Holly.
Right.
So when I hear that story where it's just like, we had a fight and I hung up and I didn't call her back for a year, and I'm like, well, that's not the John McClane I know, because he basically...
But there's a lot of time that's passed. There's
been a lot of time since the first one, but there's only been 4 years.
4 years?
Since the second one.
A lot can happen in 4 years.
A lot can happen. I understand that, yes.
But yes, I do get where you're coming from. It
paints a very different John McClane, and one that perhaps I'm not...
It turns a bit darker,
as interested in.
Yeah.
I don't find like the alcoholic thing is fine.
Yeah.
Like it's a very common 90s kind of cop thing to be the damaged policeman with with the drug problem, and it's the lethal weapon thing. It's the gun to the mouth before going to work. It's it's obviously not to that extent in this, but it's a very common...
Last Boy Scout. Yeah.
Last Boy Scout, exactly right.
Totally.
I don't know if that's what I want John McClane to be.
But the thing is, do you want him to be the apple pie guy that has the family and is okay? That's not John McClane.
Well, no, because he's never... only in 2 really are they okay.
Yeah. And are they okay? Like in that first one, there was a couple of...
In the first one, they're very, they're very on edge. It's very close. Like I don't think he's seen them for a few months and things.
Exactly.
So I like there is a drive for him to want to fix that relationship.
Okay.
I find it hard to believe that after we've spent, let's say, 4 hours with this character, that we're led to believe one thing about how he believes what he thinks about family.
Yep.
To then
go to the end,
be presented to him and go, oh no, this is how he feels now.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm forced as the viewer to just be on board for that, because that's what it is. I don't think it serves John McClane as well.
Okay. I
disagree.
No, I agree with you. Like I do. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I do.
Oh, and this is a very basic kind of thing, but he's not as jovial either.
Oh, he doesn't know. That's true.
There's no quips.
You could. He does have a couple of things, but you could hang it up to the fact that he does have a bad fucking hangover.
Yes.
But also, I do agree with that. There are like little moments in 1 and 2, for that matter, that are really John McClane and really funny. Right now, I can't think of what they are, but I'm sure there must be. Well,
there's there's the typical awful one. The kind of the coast will have a few laughs. Like, he's in the thing. Like that, he's in this awful situation. He's, I don't think his feet are cut up by that point, but
no, they are.
He's fucked up pretty hard.
Yeah.
And he's still managing to kind of just have the little aside and the little joke and the ho ho ho, I've got a machine gun. This one, it seemed like the best he could do was just kind of yell at him and call him a fuckhead and stuff.
But he did...
And mock him for stuttering. And I'm kind of like, okay, this is a different John McClane.
No, but I did like it. And I guess you get a little bit of what you're talking about, the jovial John McClane with Samuel L. Jackson. A little bit once they get over there, because it is...
It takes a while. It's very late in the process.
Die Hard with a Vengeance is a buddy cop movie. It is that. But and you do get that a little bit once they get over their hump of not liking each other. But I love him. I do love him. Give me another question.
All right, another question. This is fun.
I feel like I didn't do well on that one. I feel like you won that point.
No. There's no winners and losers.
I know, but for those people who, are really madly diehard fans like my wife, are probably going to go, why didn't you talk about this?
Okay.
Yep, go.
Can you explain to me...
Oh, no. You're not going to say this, are you?
I will try.
Go for it. Go on.
What is Simon's plan?
What is his plan?
What is his plan? Give me step by step. What is his plan?
Well, this is one of the things that Die Hard with a Vengeance, I think, does that a lot of things don't do. Because with Die Hard 1, you stay with... It's Hans Gruber, isn't it?
Yes, it is Hans.
You stay with him. There are shots of him, and you see what his plan is, and sort of you cut away from John to see him. Whereas in this one, in Die Hard with a Vengeance, We see Simon's plan as it's unfolding. You don't get an idea of what's going to happen.
We get the information as the police get the information.
Yeah, which I kind of love.
Which, no, I think the execution of
is
that
awesome.
is
but
excellent.
What is his plan?
But what is his plan? Because
his plan,
anytime I thought about it in my head,
yep.
an event that I went, oh, but this happened, so it couldn't have been that.
Okay.
And I got to a point where I'm like, I hate to be that guy.
But what is his plan?
But I had to switch off and go, it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Just enjoy it.
Really? Okay, so what is his plan? His plan is to... I'm spoiling everything because if you haven't seen Die Hard with a Vengeance by now...
I'm saying, I know his end game.
Yep.
I know the end game.
Okay. So his plan is to set up John McClane in order to do these tricks to get bombs that go off. Now, he needs a bomb to go off near the Federal Reserve building in order to steal that gold.
Yes.
Are you going to cut me off anytime soon?
No.
Okay. So he's doing that. In doing that, he also tells the police that there is a bomb in the school. So the police are far from... the Federal Reserve building, so they can steal it and take it with the dump trucks that they've stolen, and take it onto a ship in which they will make the police think that they're going to blow up, so the police will not look for them, but in actual fact they will steal the gold and go. Which country we want to buy? They will buy a country.
Yes. Okay. All of that works for me.
Okay, go.
That is, from that point onwards,
yep.
It's pretty solid.
Sure. Take it apart.
Why does he need John McClane there?
Why does he need John McClane?
Why?
Why pick on John McClane?
No, not why pick on him.
Yep.
Why?
Does he need John McClane?
Why does it start with John McClane? What does he achieve by sending him into Harlem? And then what does it matter if him and Samuel L. Jackson are at the train station when it blows up? Why couldn't it just have blown up?
It could have just been anyone, to be honest.
Why didn't that plan start there?
Oh.
Because that's the only part that matters.
Because that would be a boring movie.
Yes. And this is where I was like, Tyson, just don't be a dick about it. But what have happened?
But this is a clearly I feel, even though I feel he does have a bone to pick, and this is what I do love about Die Hard with a Vengeance, is that it is a revenge movie from his point of view. He is getting John McClane back for throwing his brother off the roof. Even though you don't see him, there's not a scene where he's like, you killed my brother, what the hell? There wasn't I feel he was getting, because Simon is very calm, you don't see him angry at all through this movie. Even like most bad guys, you see them be bad by killing their friends.
Yeah, you see the example of badness, yes,
throughout their actions. But in this one, he is so calm, cool, and collected that he is exacting. Is that a word? Exacting his revenge on John McClane.
So we're comfortable just saying that all those other elements are just revenge-based elements.
I think they are. I literally think he didn't mean for him to survive Harlem.
Okay, so this is my thing.
Yeah, no. How did they...
So, if it wasn't for Samuel L. Jackson, he would have been shot.
Yeah.
Then does the rest of his plan... Does he sit there and go, oh, shit.
No, I think he would have
I just got to blow up the train station and...
and steal all the gold.
And just go from there.
I have no idea, to be honest. And I really don't know.
Because he calls him and is like, well, now you're going to go on this wild goose chase.
Yeah.
And you have to get to the station.
And he takes a Samaritan with him. Which, to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it, the school that they pick, and John McClane says the school that they pick is the school that Samuel L. Jackson's character's nephews go to.
Which means that they didn't actually even pick the school until... Oh, no, but they delivered that thing in the morning.
In the morning, yeah.
So he must have known.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So I don't know. How did Simon know about these things? And I think it literally was just... What would happen
to the entirety of the plan if John McClane was just too hungover to function? What if it was just like...
No, I think he would have got... No, this is John McClane we're talking about here. That's not just an average Joe. It's not like me.
It's not like me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, nah, can't do it today.
Now I have to go to work. Damn it. Yeah.
No, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, you have me at a bit of a holding point there.
If someone can explain it to me, and I tried, I didn't want to think about it, but it was just because I've seen this so many times.
Yeah.
I was starting to think about it. I was like, okay, because this is a bit like Dark Knight syndrome for me, where I'm like, where I watch that middle chunk of Dark Knight and go, man, that plan was flimsy. Like that required a lot of coincidental.
Don't fall apart the Dark Knight. How dare you?
Like it relied on a lot of coincidences.
It relied
to make
on the
that
Joker
happen.
shooting him. Yeah,
This I feel like relies on a lot of luck to make it work.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, man, for a very calculated guy, you're relying on some bullshit to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good
Which
point. I guess he would have.
This is what I mean. This is when you go back to the first one.
Yeah,
it's airtight. Like
right,
there is none of that. He's every move you look at and is explained because it's also a simpler. It's more straightforward in its structure. It's a simpler goal. This is a very convoluted goal. And so there's obviously a lot of balls in the air. I don't think this screenwriter is as accomplished at keeping them in the air.
Go on.
Do you know what's really funny is that while I was writing this note, and this is probably giving too much away.
Oh, I love this.
While I was writing this note, I solved this note in my head. Oh. I wrote down the joke. The kid, when he goes, it's a kid's joke.
The elephant joke.
What has 4 legs and is always ready to travel? And they look at an elephant, and I'm like, it took me forever.
Oh, I still don't
in my head, I was like, what the fuck? How did they get from A to B in that? Do you know why?
Why?
Because elephants have their trunk. They always have their trunk.
I don't get it.
A trunk.
What is say the joke?
They're always ready to travel because they've always got their trunk.
Oh.
Like when you pack it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, it's funny.
Why don't I know that? That's so lame that I don't know that.
Okay.
Yep. Question.
Here we go.
Oh, no.
Question.
Oh, no.
So there are.
Here we go.
There are 2 moments in this film. That further the plot that are totally circumstantial based on who they were talking to at that time.
Okay.
As in the kid where he like gets angry at the kid for stealing the candy bar.
You could steal
City Hall.
Yeah.
And it's like the slow shit just got real pan.
Whoa.
And I'm like, well, this movie just would have kept going if he hadn't have stopped that kid from stealing something.
That's absolutely true, yeah. What's wrong with that?
Because
what do you mean because?
You're making your protagonist
dumb?
Not dumb, but completely he's only reactionary. He's in no way taking action.
This is Die Hard, man. This is John McClane. He's not a detective.
He is a detective.
He's a lieutenant. He's a lieutenant detective. What am I talking about?
And I'll just say, and this happens, and it's only because it happened twice that I was like, oh, come on.
Oh, really?
The truck driver who tells him who the 21st president is.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Well,
but he was going to find Simon. No, hang on a minute. He was going to find Simon and then beat the shit out of him and interrogate him and ask him where the school was, what the code was, and all that stuff. That's how that was going to happen. The other one I don't know. How that he knew, how that, it would become they're stealing the gold.
My concern is that
yep,
the two pretty important plot points to the film were not solved by our protagonist. He just happened to get lucky.
And I think that's
based on random people that he stumbled across.
I think that's a great thing about Die Hard.
Okay,
I think that's a beautiful way to, to just show the people of New York helping John McClane out.
Sure.
And I love how beautifully New York that they are as well. It's Christmas, you could steal City Hall. And then the other guy...
The kid's just...
Jeez, is that guy dead? I love him.
Yeah, he's great. Like, he's great.
Him so much.
He's great.
Jerry, he's dead.
But, it's one of those... It's a contrivance that I can almost get on board because it's like, sure, the dumb truck driver just happens to know everything about New York.
Yeah, he's
random
a tour
history
guide.
facts.
He was a tour guide.
And
he
so
was
he's
great.
like, okay, cool. Yeah, I know all the presidents. That's fine.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable.
All right.
Very knowledgeable.
I'm less comfortable with that than you are. Clearly. I find it a little odd. I find it a little bit off-putting because I'm like... Okay, so here's one of the good points.
I think you're overthinking it. But
Maybe.
keep going. Yeah.
But one of the good points
Yep.
is that at that point when he reads the thing and he says you got to go to the stadium.
The stadium, yep.
And it's like, what's 21 out of 4?
Yeah,
that is the point. My head goes, I think I'm done with the riddles.
Right. Which
and
is
then
where the riddles
and
stop.
that's when the kids come in. And
Yep.
I'm like, you know what? It's like the movie knew
it's good
that
writing.
I was done. I was done with the riddles.
Yeah.
Except I don't like that it's not McClane going,
I'm done with this shit.
I'm done with this riddle. Why they keep chasing us around? There's got to be something else going on. They wouldn't just keep having us do this.
Yeah.
Like I want him
to work it out.
Yeah.
Because
I want him to be a smart guy. I feel like
why does he have to be though? He is literally John McClane. This is the thing. He's going by the seat of his pants. It's not as if, apart from the bad fucking hangover, he's
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can respect.
Do you know what I mean? Like
that element to it, that it is kind of because he is so fly by the seat of his pants. I just find I think if it happened once, I think I would have found it kind of charming.
Oh,
I think that it happened twice. I think I'm a little bit kind of like,
this is just happening by chance.
Now it feels like a screenwriter saying we need to feed him this information. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to it happening kind of organically in the movie.
But you knew that they were the best part about you knew that they were asking. I love that they didn't know who the 21st president was, and they asked. And the first person that they asked was the guy that they stole the phone and the BMW from.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself! Like that was such a beautiful piece of of cinematography right there.
Yes.
I love that guy. He sells that. God, he sells that.
He does.
Go fuck yourself.
There's something about a really good, healthy go fuck yourself or get fucked.
It is.
Something. Like it
is very.
It's warming. It's very warming.
It is. Sorry, I don't have any. I don't have an answer to your question there. I just love. I do love the fact that he is. He is a detective, but he's not as if he's trying to crack this case. I feel that he's just trying to save New York from a school bomb.
Yeah, he's just doing what he's got to do.
Yeah,
I get that.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah. Another question for me?
I do have another one.
Oh, I'm loving it.
Simon.
Yep.
The scene where this is okay. I'm going to combine a few Simon questions into one.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
I think he's a really well written and performed villain.
Yep. It's a bit different.
He's a bit different. Did you notice with Simon? I'm going to move on quickly.
Oh, go for it.
Because we're just going to smash through these.
Sorry.
So fun.
Yeah.
So Simon at one point eats a boiled egg. Which
yes, he does.
It's like, okay.
A boiled egg.
Here we go. He's doing a thing. You know when you just see actors sometimes and it's like, I want to know.
You brought that up.
Was Jeremy Irons there going, I think
my bad guy's going to eat boiled eggs.
I think he should eat a boiled egg here. Or was this a screenwriter thing? Because I'm intrigued by shit like that.
I have no idea. That's a really good question.
And
I don't know why it's a good question.
Do you know what's even better? The little container that he gets the egg out of.
I don't remember a container.
It has 2.
Oh my God.
There's another one in there.
2 hard-boiled eggs.
And so this is just me.
God,
like this is just the weird shit that I noticed about
picked
Simon,
up because
which I'm not sure I don't. I think I actually make me like him more. Have you noticed that he doesn't know how to use a walkie-talkie? He holds it. He holds it like front on, and like he's like.
Are you talking about the one scene where do you have the reason to record?
No.
He's calling the Coast Guard?
No. By then it looks like he's figured it out.
What, really?
There's a scene in the truck.
The scene in the truck.
When it's the 3 of them in the truck and they're driving away together.
Yeah, I know.
He's holding the walkie-talkie like it's like
is it because he's
a dirty nappy?
Is it because he's...
It's like, I don't know how to... And he dangles like the antenna in his fingers and then kind of holds and he's trying to twist the knob on top and can't do it properly.
I have not seen this at all.
Like it's really... I was looking, I was like, what is he doing? Why can't he hold a walkie-talkie properly?
Really? Is that really what happened?
And so in my head, I'm like, Jeremy Irons is doing this thing. He's committing to it. But then the 2 scenes later, he's using it like an old pro. And then at the same time, I was like, okay, so he's meant to be like a war criminal.
Right.
I wonder if this was just one of the early takes.
Yeah.
And he hadn't quite figured out what he was going to do with his hands, and he was a bit kind of, that's a bit awkward.
Really?
But they just liked the line delivery and went, oh, no, we'll use that.
Oh. Okay.
Because it's really off-putting. And once I saw it, I couldn't stop watching it. It only goes for 10 seconds. But I couldn't tell you what they were talking about at that point because I was just watching the way he handled the
that
the
is so
walkie-talkie.
random that you would have picked. Bring
I told
that
you, man.
up.
I've seen this. This is the level we were getting to.
This is the level okay. Now I need to watch the whole movie again.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
2 and a bit hours.
Yeah, absolutely every single bit of it. But no, I didn't pick that up.
Okay. So, as a conversation where we just talk about Simon a little bit,
I'll go for it.
I
love him.
He's doing some really weird stuff.
Yeah.
Some really interesting things, which I like.
Yeah.
Because it makes it obviously a villain where it's got a bit of interest to it.
Yeah.
And it's not your typical, really kind of flat delivery. He's really trying out something.
Yeah.
But yeah, are you a fan?
I loved it. I think it showed that he was. I think it showed, especially from the start when we first, when Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson get back from Harlem, and he rings and he puts on that act of stuttering. And when he's pushed and things like that, just to throw the cops off the track. Now, that tells me, for me, I don't know, maybe he was thrown off the track, but I don't think so. But I think he was doing a really good job acting.
So I did want to ask about the stutter at the start. Do you think that was just him just planting some seeds in there?
Yeah, planting some seeds. Yeah, and I thought that we're meant to think, as much as Jeremy Irons' acting is spot on and amazing, we're meant to think that Simon is this character who has all this experience. Jeremy Irons has all this experience so that, he does bring up these characters that he can do or things like that so that he can keep throwing them off the track. I forgot the question. Are you asking me
I'm just asking if you dig what he's doing.
No, I did.
Yeah.
I did. It was more believable in the character because Simon wasn't he never got angry. He never went off the rails. He never shot his own bad guys. He wasn't that type of bad guy. So the fact that he is very cool, calm, and collected all the way through this, and the only reason that he does go off tap is because John finds him at the end. That's the only time that we see him. So in my head, he has thought out every little piece. He has gone through this thing, piece by piece, just to figure out what would happen.
Sure.
So yeah, I liked him because he was an intelligent bad guy.
Yeah, look, I don't think that's questionable. I think it's pretty clear that he's obviously a smart and calculating guy.
Eating eggs though, I think that's weird.
That's weird. Eating eggs is weird.
I do love it though.
Like he's got kind of like a prissy thing going on.
No, do you know what it is? It's the blue
that
singlet.
Thing. What is that thing?
And do you know what it is? It looks like he's a health nut because of the eating the eggs, the singlet, which, Jeremy Irons has that sort of that fitness junkie body in that movie.
He's very wiry.
Yeah. So he looks like he works out quite a bit, but not works out to the put on.
He's not like protein loading before he
bulk,
works out.
Exactly.
He's
not
doing
putting
the
on bulk. Yeah. Exactly. He's toning. That and the fact that, I don't know, for some reason with the headaches thing, because he takes that aspirin a lot in that movie.
Yes.
I saw.
But this is another thing where I'm like,
maybe he's a health junkie or something.
But I thought because it's what we were talking about before with the stutter, where I was with you. I'm like, he's just kind of throwing him off the track. But then with the headaches thing, and I'm like, but maybe he does have.
Maybe he's a nutter.
Maybe he's got something a bit wrong with him.
A bit loose.
And so maybe the stutter was part of it. But then I'm like, but it served no purpose.
Exactly. No.
But then
I loved it.
But then the headaches becomes
part of it.
Well, not really, because then the headaches become a planted screenwriter's contrivance
Yeah.
to get the aspirin bottle.
Yeah.
So that he can
Go to Canada.
Mm. So we're just acknowledging that it is a contrivance and we're okay with it. Cool.
I am. Absolutely, I'm okay with it. Things come up. Things happen.
Things do happen, and you're
know.
right. This is one of those movies where it's just like we can come at it from two ways. I can come at it from well, this is a screenwriter clearly, but you could also say that it's a clever screenwriter because he planted the fact that McClane's hungover.
Yep.
And planted the fact that he gets headaches.
Yeah.
No,
he gets migraines.
Very early in the film, so that he knew at the point at the end, and he figured out, well, the way I'm going to get the last little bit of information to John is the aspirin bottle, and that's maybe that is clever. But the problem with it, my problem with those kind of contrivances are, thank you, that I need the secondary layer. I don't need him just to have headaches. I need that to be related to the overall plot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You need more.
I need a little bit more because otherwise, that's like because you're just clickety clack on your computer writing a screenplay, and you go like, and then you say at the end,
and he has headaches, and the address is on the label.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna, and so then he turns 20 pages back, and goes, Simon gets a headache.
No, but
Do you know what I mean?
No, but they implemented at the start that he does suffer from migraines and things like that.
Yes.
But yes, I do say what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's my kind of. That's a negative way to look at it, and I don't like looking at it that way, which is why that extra little level where it appears that was actually part of the narrative, not an eventual idea in order to further the last part of the narrative. That's all it is. It's kind of like, okay, well, what came first? Did the headaches come first, or did the pill bottle come first?
Really?
Because if the pill bottle came first, I'm less impressed by that. If the headaches came first, it's better screenwriting.
Okay, so you want a reason for him to have headaches. Do you need to know the reason for him to have headaches?
No, it's not so much that I need to know the reason. I need the headaches to play some kind of part in the narrative. Like, I need John to have used it against him, just minutely in some way. Like maybe in one of their interactions, he says one of the riddles wrong because he's and kind of rubs his head, and John's like not feeling too well, and takes like something, so it kind of it
so
builds
it
that way
a little bit more rather than just a little.
Rather than he also gets migraines,
right?
You know what I mean?
He does take that medicine. I think
he takes it a few times.
Yeah. Which is a lot of Panadol for one day.
Well, that's how they take him, man. Those little bottles.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
They just chug them back.
Seriously?
All right. Well, so we've been talking about this for a while, so let's move on. Let's move on to some good things.
Okay.
Look, I did have a few other things, but let's move on to some good things.
Yeah.
I love Samuel L. Jackson in this film.
How could you not?
And
it was my first. I feel like it was my first Samuel L. Jackson movie. Yeah.
I like this little patch where he did this and Long Kiss Goodnight, where he was the sidekick in the really good action movie.
Yep.
I think that works really well for him. He's great as that kind of role.
He is, because he can just come in with the one-liners, which he says so well, and then
he just does it well. Like, we know
leave. That. Yeah, exactly.
And he saying he's the sidekick is almost like diminishing his role, because it's
nothing wrong with sidekicks.
It's really a two-hander. Like he is as important to this
supported actor, man.
Supported as John
actor.
McClane.
Exactly. Some supported actors come in and steal the limelight from that, and the only thing you don't remember the leading actor and their performance. Instead, you remember, how badass was that supporting actor. That's true. It's very true.
I think I like him more than John McClane in this film. I think I'm gonna say.
Well, would they work without each other, Tyson? That's the
and
real
you're totally right. They wouldn't work without each other. I can say certainly do not want to see this movie without Samuel L. Jackson.
No, it'd be awful.
I could be interested in seeing this movie without John McClane. Wouldn't it be interesting?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like the normal guy from Harlem caught up in this bullshit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because he handles himself pretty well.
Oh, he does.
Because I like that he's smart. I like that, like the bit when they're on the phone and they're like the mathematical problems. And he's just like, no, I'm good with this shit. Give me the numbers. And he's just multiplying stuff in his head. And I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm okay with numbers.
I
And
still
he's
count with my
smashing
fingers.
out the multiplication.
Yeah.
Like, it really, like, he's very
6 times 10
effective
is 49.
in
Yeah,
this
exactly.
film. Like,
Yeah.
he's the one that solves most of the riddles.
Speaking of riddles, Tys.
Yes.
I'm going to bring up the water bottles.
Okay, the water bottles. The jugs.
The jugs. Now,
We did say we would explain.
we would explain. We'd said to our audience that we would explain this.
We're going to give the people what they want.
Now, in watching this, Tys, I'm going to say that I don't know how many times I've watched this movie. It has been quite a few times.
Sure.
I don't think I've given it a real shot to try, and maybe at uni, when I was at uni, tried to give it a go and figure out the puzzle. You have a 5-gallon drum.
Yes.
And you have a 3-gallon drum.
Yes.
And you need to put exactly 4 gallons
Yes.
onto the ticking time bomb in order to have the counter stop. Tyson, what would you do?
Okay, so I want to explain that these are written on IMDb on the trivia page. Now, I
don't
did
want
not.
your answer.
No, but I
Okay.
figured it out. And then I was scrolling through the trivia and was like, oh, well, I didn't even have to think about this. I could have just done and been like, oh, look what I figured out.
Lame, no.
So
Don't
I
do
did
that.
figure it
Don't do
out.
that.
And
Yep.
the one that I got first was actually not, because I paused it when I got to that moment. I'm like,
Yep.
I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, here we go.
The one that I got was actually not the one that
They
they
do,
got. But
right.
apparently there are only two
Ways to do
two
this?
ways to
Yeah.
do it.
Okay.
So the way I got,
Yep.
here you go. Are you ready?
He's written it down, people. Let's
did.
hear it.
You fill the 3-gallon.
Yep.
Oh, I like how you're doing this with the fingers.
Yep.
Yeah, Nick's got his fingers up for each side.
Okay,
I like
here we go.
You fill the 3-gallon
To the
and
top?
you pour that in. To the top, and you pour that into the 5-gallon.
Right, so you got 3 gallons in here.
Yes, and you got 0 in the 3-gallon.
Uh-huh.
Then you do the same again, which puts 5 gallons in the 5-gallon.
So you go
So you
back.
fill up the 3-gallon
Fill up
all the
the
way
3.
again. Pour it into
Pour it
the
to
5-gallon.
Yeah.
That'll give you 5 gallons in the 5-gallon
Okay.
and 1 gallon in the 3 gallons.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yep.
Tys. Well done.
Then you empty the 5-gallon. Just pour it out.
Pour it all out.
Leaves you 1 in the 3, none in the 5.
That's true.
Pour
Oh, well
the
done,
3 gram,
Tys.
the 1 gram,
The one-
the 1
the
gallon,
gram.
1 gram.
The 1 litre.
Yeah, the 1 gallon into the 5 gallon, which puts 1 in the 5, none in the 3.
That's right.
Fill up the 3 to the top, pour it into the 5.
You've got the...
You've
well
got
done,
4.
Tys. Well done, man.
And I was doing something very similar. I was like holding shit on either side, going, but now I've got this on this side and this on this side.
I would like to...
One thing I will say about that scene is they are spilling water willy-nilly
I know,
all over the place.
everywhere.
I'm like, he said 4 gallons.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You guys
yeah.
are fucking it up.
Oh my God. Throw this thing away. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically the way that I did it, but I did it backwards to you.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Well,
that's
the other
to
way
do
is easier.
Yeah.
Because that was 5
love the
steps. The
hard-
other way is only 4 steps.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to explain the
No,
other way.
that's fine.
I'll let the listeners at home.
Work it out for yourselves,
Figure
ladies
it
and
out
gentlemen.
themselves.
Yeah.
That's
Watch
that's
Die Hard.
really-
You try and figure it out, because I am now 35, and I'm telling you, this is the first time that I've ever done that for myself.
Hey.
Yes, I had the help of my wife, but screw you. I
I think this is the first time I've effectively done it.
Well done. Could he do it
Small
in time?
victories.
Probably
no,
not.
probably not.
Probably
They
not.
they didn't leave you much time.
No. I
Um,
think it was 2 minutes something.
have you seen
Go for it.
the alternate ending?
No.
Okay.
What?
So I recently bought the Blu-ray box set of
Wow.
all the
Okay.
Die Hard films.
Yeah.
And when I finished the movie, I was like, I might watch a few, featurettes and bullshit just to kind of, get an idea of some of the making of and stuff. There's some great stuff on there. There's some really exciting stuff on the Blu-ray. There's some like special effects making shots and explosions, how they did them, and it's all really interesting stuff. John McClane, who I want to talk about in a second, is really great,
Insane.
really great.
Insane.
There is an alternate ending.
Right.
So it was the way it was originally written, and it
Okay.
was filmed,
Yeah.
and then they decided it was too dark.
Oh, really?
And so they changed it to the one.
So how did it end?
Okay, so everything from the point where he...
Rocks up in Canada. No?
Yeah. which to me is really obviously reshoots.
You can tell because the police are so far away. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Like they're really off in the distance. The fact that they've cornered him off.
The reshoots actually started from the point where they're all celebrating that they've gotten away with it, and he's cracking the champagne and to fallen comrades. That's all reshoots. And when she silently seduces him and he goes up the stairs, all reshoots. It cut from when he's on the phone and then he runs because he's looking at the pill bottles. Except there was something different on the pill bottles.
Ooh.
Cuts to he's in some, I can't remember where he is. It's not Quebec. It's a different, like it's a random kind of nondescript European country.
European?
Yeah. Simon is sitting in a bar,
right,
reading the newspaper, and John McClane comes up to him.
And they've shot this.
I watched it.
Yeah. And
he sits down and they have a little chat.
Yeah.
And what's really interesting about it is that it's Christmas. And I'm like, we got our Christmas point.
Bringing
I
it
love
back
it.
home.
Bringing it back.
Yep.
And he's apparently made up with Holly and the kids. And he's like, once I'm finished here, I'm going to spend Christmas with them.
Tys, this... Okay, keep going.
And
keep going.
He does this weird thing where he's like, we're going to play a game.
Yep.
And because he's got a gun to him. And he says, we're going to play a game. He's figured out what happened. Apparently, the way he got the gold out, totally different as well.
Okay.
He's melted them into like mini Statue of Liberties. Like it's. Okay. I'm watching it going, but what? How did when?
Right.
Like it's really like it's. Either way, it's not a great ending, but it's just very interesting.
Right.
So he's basically saying, we're going to play a game now because you were fucking with me. I'm going to fuck with you a little bit. He's like, we're going to play a game called McClane Says. Right? He puts a rocket launcher on the table.
Oh my God, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Simon's like, you've taken the directional arrows off. And he's like, yeah, I know. We're going to play a game. I'm going to ask you a riddle. If you get it right, you get to choose which way the rocket launcher's facing.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So he goes through all the riddles. He gets them all right except for the last one.
Yeah.
Then McClane spins it around once, and he goes, okay, push the button.
Oh, my God.
And Simon then turns it around again, and McClane's like, are you sure? He's like, yep. He pushes the button. The rocket launcher hits Simon, kills him. And John McClane's like, I had like a flak jacket on, or like a bulletproof vesty kind of thing.
Not that would help.
No, and walks out of the bar. I'm like, what is going on?
Do you know that kind of what you were talking about before with Holly and the pill bottle, and that kind of wraps all of that up together?
It's nice that it it's nice that it brings back. I like that he's a family man. It's a part of me that I like it for his character. I think it's a good, but yeah, really bizarre and worth watching too. Wow. It feels really out of place.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I think the actual ending feels really out of place anyway.
No, okay. The reason I like the ending, and I was thinking about this because endings really do make or break a movie with me.
Sure.
I liked this ending because it was just another... I feel like Die Hard with a Vengeance is a day in the life of John McClane. And I really do.
No, it's true.
I really feel like that this was just a Wednesday and he was like, oh, yeah, fair enough, And that's why I like the fact that it ended with Samuel L. Jackson literally sitting on the curb, handing him a quarter going, no, ring Holly, you'll be fine. And it just kind of roll credits. It's okay. Rather than, a big victory, because you have all of that in 1 and 2. But I like that it's just a day in the life. You don't get it.
That point I don't feel like is...
Oh, you're talking about the whole thing.
I think
you're
it's once it gets to Quebec, I feel like it you can feel the reshoots. Like,
oh, really?
Because I didn't know there was an alternate ending until I looked up the special features. And that ending has always felt weird to me.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, oh, there's an alternate ending. I'm going to check this out.
So hang on a minute. Does he... So, just to go back... in the alternate ending, does he say "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker"? Because that means that
he did say it as he's walking away from the bar.
Oh,
like after he shot him with the rocket launcher,
awesome.
He does like a "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker."
Oh, okay.
And just turns around. Yes, because he does say it. He does say.
Well, it's just, I kind of like that. You don't like the helicopter explosion.
It's It's not that I don't like it. It's just that it feels quite jarring.
It's quick cuts and it's very.
It's
almost
just kind of like
shaky
we
cam.
needed to find a way to. It's like he's in a helicopter and I like I just need one shot thing. I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
The other thing that I don't think is super effective about that ending is that it puts all the other people that worked on the scheme in the room with them at the end, which means
You're talking about. Oh, okay.
the only one that didn't know that they weren't sinking the real gold
was
Lurch.
Lurch. Yeah.
Which to me, I'm like, man, that's a lot of people that. How do
That
you not
didn't
know?
know.
How do
Yeah,
you not know,
exactly.
buddy?
Yeah.
Like everybody else
It was
knows.
just keeping
And
it
there was
from
that
him.
one guy that went, "You're gonna want to see this."
Yeah.
So does that
that's
mean
true.
he didn't know either? And it was just those two?
Okay, you're picking apart my Die Hard with a Vengeance now. I don't like
But
this
it's fine
no,
because
that's
it's just
true.
because they obviously rewrote the ending.
Oh,
And to me,
okay.
I think it works better that only him and I want to say Sonia because I feel like she's a Sonia.
Is it a Sonia?
With the blonde
with the scar.
Yeah. Blonde, like perpetually wet hair, like for some reason.
It's the you know what it is? It's the European look.
Yeah, that's
she's
what it
European and she has no lines.
No, she doesn't say a word. I love
Say
it.
a word.
I do love the bit where she just guts that security guard.
I think he's dead, my dear.
Yes.
Yeah, huge.
That brings me to my favorite scene in the film.
Ooh.
My absolute favorite.
Yep.
That is the realizing in the lift that they're all bad guys.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing that happens in this movie.
Really?
Because
That's a big call.
we are the one thing that I didn't have to be quite so overplayed. Actually, do you know what? I think they underplay it because they don't do like a flashback or you don't hear like
they do set it up at the start.
They set that up really nicely. See, that is a good setup.
And
to
this
me.
is where, like, a lot of things. This is one of the things I wrote down.
We should explain what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'll go for it. Yeah,
But the way it's
if you don't know, you're an idiot, though.
But it's the fact that the security guard is using really weird turns of phrase.
Yes. He says.
He sounds like those guys on Family Guy that are like the almost English but aren't. That have been there for a couple of years.
He says it's been raining dogs and cats.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
It's the weird way he goes, oh, you know, and he says something like,
it's something else he
this,
says.
how's this weather? Well, like just the way, what about this weather or something? And I think it's the way he pauses between dogs and cats. And then he says about but I end up taking the lift.
The lift, yeah.
And
who calls it a lift?
Well, we call it a lift. But
in New York, who calls it a lift?
Yes, exactly.
But yeah.
And then the numbers on the badge.
Yeah. But yeah, they set up that but that's really beautifully.
That's an excellent setup in my mind. The way it's just, asking about the lottery numbers. You're still playing your badge.
Yeah.
Like that's because that's the kind of conversation that they've clearly had a bunch of times before.
Exactly.
It feels natural. It feels like, because they're giving him shit. I love the way they give him shit all the time.
John, you look like shit.
And he's just like, fuck you. And they get on with their day.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a real sense of camaraderie there. And
that's where we get the dump trucks, because the female cop, I forget her name, the one that yells all the time.
She's great.
Walter! Yeah.
She's really great.
Yeah, she's really good. She actually says in the van while he's going to Harlem, what else happened? Like, just an update.
Yes, yeah.
And she says someone stole 14 great dump trucks.
While they're just doing
and that was a setup as well.
Yeah,
which I totally...
The daily rundown while they're in there.
Yeah.
Such
a good action movie.
It is. It's a lot of fun. I know I've shat on it a bit, but it's. I had so much fun watching it there. But this is kind of like what it got to.
But this is what you wanted to do.
I do it in a loving way because it was kind of like, As I was watching, I'm like, is this worth scrutinizing or not?
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe it's not the choice of movies to do that for, because it's not like they're not,
Exactly.
They don't want you to do that because they wouldn't expect you to do that.
I would expect you to do this for Inception, and I will, when we do talk about that, I'll come with, guns blazing. Okay, so to sum up my love of Die Hard, I think the reason why, in a whole, that it works better for me than the rest of the Die Hards, is because it's a buddy cop movie. It doesn't we don't have the traditional introductions, which works well, I feel, in this one. We're chucked in the deep end. It has a bad guy that gives us puzzles, so we feel a bit smart, sort of thing. We're taken along for a bit of a ride. Do you know what I mean?
I do like that.
We feel everyone loves a puzzle.
It's a quick way to kind of get your audience engaged.
Paying attention. And then on top of that, so you've got the puzzles, then you've got the school bomb, which is kind of a panic, and then you've got the actual bad guy plot of him stealing gold. So the fact that there's
a shit ton going on in this movie, man.
Do you know what I mean? And that's why I kind of I don't know, I like it a little bit more. Plus it's a buddy cop. They don't like each other. They deal with race a lot in this, which would have been very risque around the time of 95.
Yes. It's a look, and it's nice that they never have like the actual moment, like
the actual
hey man, you're okay, like
absolutely.
It's good that
you're my friend.
It's good that they actually they come to that quite naturally, and
they do, and they
without even really acknowledging it themselves.
Yeah.
They've become friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is nice.
Which is very nice. Yeah.
When it comes to 90s action,
Die Hard with a Vengeance is your movie. You tell me it's not.
It's not, but no,
that's hilarious. It's not. I'd rather, Last Action Hero. But
I
know you. I know it, Tys. I know you.
No,
it's another John McTiernan film.
Well,
but
I'm stuttering now.
But that's very different.
I mean, trying to say what's your favorite action film is a fruitless endeavor.
Impossible.
But in the conversation always would be another McTiernan film, which is Predator.
Ooh.
Which I feel is
what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think it's on a different level.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, we are talking about.
But we're talking about a guy that made like
Predator, then Die Hard. His next movie was Die Hard. Hunt for Red October.
Which, all right, let's even just stop there. If they were the 3 films that you made in your life,
you're happy. You're gold.
You'd need to be pretty happy with yourself.
But to be honest, Tys, I think that's it. Apart from, so the next one was skipping Medicine Man because I've never heard of that.
Oh, Sean Connery.
Sean Connery?
No, it's a piece
it's not exactly. See, there you go. The next one after Medicine Man was Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Great.
And then it just goes off on a tangent.
Oh, does it?
Unfortunately.
Oh, Last Action Hero's in there though.
Yeah, that's what I said. Last Action Hero.
Sorry.
And then Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah, sure.
And then...
Okay, well, let's say that's 5, because Last Action Hero, I think, is a little bit of an underrated gem.
It is... Not a lot of people like this, Tys. Not a lot... Well, maybe I'm wrong, because the people that I've talked to, which are...
The people that it's made for...
Cinephiles.
Love it.
Who love it, yeah.
Yeah. It's made for those, like the Arnie, the Stallone fans, the big action fans from the 80s. It's made for them.
Yeah.
It's so lovingly... reverential. Like, let's just even say those 5 films should be in any conversation of the top 20 to 50 kind of action films of all time.
I need to see The Hunt for Red October again. I remember that being good.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so that was Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Die Hard with a Vengeance. I think we kind of talked about as much as we could talk about it.
If you have things that we didn't bring up and would like to talk about quickly, that we should mention, by all means.
That's what our letter section is going to be like, which this is where it would go.
Right now,
if we'd had any.
And we'd have a segment jingle,
yes,
or rap or beat poem.
Yes.
I've said that too much.
But I think you're jonesing for a beat poem.
I am.
And that's
really
fine,
am.
man. Like,
imagine that.
Keep plugging it. I hope you get one.
Woman. Whoa, man. Whoa, man. Okay, I'm going to stop.
That's it. So this is where letters would go. Find us, send us some letters.
Please do.
So, like, obviously, emails or tweet at us, and we will read them out on air.
Yes.
Questions, queries, comments, maybe something that we totally got a fact wrong about Die Hard.
Yep.
And you're screaming at your car stereo right now
or
because
a person,
we're so
or a
fucking
person on the
dumb and we
train.
couldn't figure out that we weren't talking about the right thing, and
Yep.
you want to send us a nicely
Please do.
worded tweet.
Nicely worded. Don't be nice.
You can be
Put
as
some
mean as you
swears
like.
in there.
Yeah, go for it.
Go nuts.
We'll be happy to read it out, but this is where that section would go, and we're going to close off today with some recommendations, which is our last segment for the day, where we talk about what you can stream if you are an Australian.
If you are an Australian, unfortunately, you don't have a lot of choice.
Yes. But, I mean, you can stream this anywhere, but
Absolutely.
we're just not going to recommend things that you can't stream in Australia, just to
That's
help
true.
our Australian brothers and sisters.
Friends. Yeah.
Yes. Shall I go first?
Sure.
I forgot what I was going to do.
Okay, I will go first
You
because
go
I
first.
know mine. Mine is a beautiful gem, which is a comedy, and I love that. It was kind of a no-brainer to watch this movie. After seeing the trailer, it came out in 2010. It is called Submarine.
Oh, what a cute movie.
And
I love
it is the first time director by Richard Ayoade.
Yes. Oh, I'm so glad you said his name.
Oh yeah, I know how to say it. The man is a gem.
For those because we might only know him by look, because he's very distinctive.
That's true.
Looking man.
That's true. But he is one half of the IT crowd, and
Yes.
he's done plenty of other things though. Plenty of other things.
That's
he's done.
probably his most
but
his most
you
known
can
role.
see him on YouTube as Gadget Man and
Sure.
all these other things. But yeah, Submarine. It's not a black comedy, but it's not a 40-year-old virgin by any
No,
means.
it's a very
quirky comedy.
It's your quirky coming of age
which is
story.
and the actor in it, and which I hate that his name is Craig Roberts, because he does not look like a Craig at all. I don't like the name Craig. If you are Craig and watching this,
Yeah.
feel free to
Oh,
write
poor
in and
Craigs.
berate me. But I love. It doesn't matter that his name's Craig Roberts. Craig Roberts is one of my favorite actors now, just from this film.
But I've seen him pop up in other things. 'Cause his face is very distinctive.
Yeah, he's done other stuff now. But yeah, it also has who is it? Oh, it's Paddy Constantine and
I do like
Noah
Paddy.
Taylor.
Yep, great.
It's such a good movie.
Quick little rundown of the plot for those at home that haven't seen it.
Oh, go for it. It's a 15-year-old Mr. Oliver Tate, who is just falling head over heels for this girl, and I love her name. What's her name again? Jordana. That's right, Jordana Bevan, and it's the way that he says it. It's an English film, and yeah, he falls in love with her, but he's dealing with the fact that his parents don't really his parents don't really have the relationship that he thinks a mother and father should have.
Yes.
So he's more. That's the only relationship he can base relationships on. So in order to be with Jordana, he kind of has to fix he feels that he has to fix their relationship.
Cool.
But yeah.
Yeah, really sweet movie.
It's so cute.
After watching Hunt for the Wilder People,
Yeah.
my girlfriend said, "Do you know what movie that reminded me of? That reminded me of Submarine."
Submarine.
We feel, and it's funny. It's got a very similar kind of quirky, good-natured kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
It's very
warm.
It's very warm. It leaves you
Yeah.
with the very warm feelings in the heart
It's
at the end of it,
lovely.
and it's lovely. And it also kind of gets to the heart of what makes English comedy kind of
Yes.
specific in the way it just exists, and it's almost kind of undescribable what makes English comedy.
Exactly.
And I think it's a very good example, something you could show people and go, well, this is the quirkiness of English comedy. Watch
Yeah.
a movie like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, good film.
Submarine.
What was that on? Where can you stream that?
You can watch that on Stan.
On Stan?
Please watch it on Stan.
All right, nice. I've got a Netflix Australia one for us today.
Oh, yep.
It's a movie by... it's the movie Platoon. I'm going to say that.
Wow, okay. Oliver
Oliver Stone.
I still haven't seen it. It's on the list.
Yeah, Platoon it's
Yeah.
got to be watched. I'm saying it because Oliver Stone, I've been thinking a lot about this lately.
Yep.
And if push came to shove, who would I call my favorite director?
Whoa, big call,
And,
Tys.
Well, I have to kind of, if I think of the period of time between 87, I think Platoon came out, and roughly 95.
Right.
He made
Yep.
basically every movie I love. Like, almost, he made 5 movies that would make my top 20 all-time films.
Really?
This, Born on the 4th of July, JFK,
Yep.
Natural Born Killers.
JFK. God, that's good.
Those, even just those 4 films, there was a 5th one in there. I think Wall Street's in that time as well.
Yeah.
But I'm not as huge on Wall Street. Like it's great. But
It's
those
good, but
4,
it's
to
a
me,
period piece
I
thing.
can make arguments for those 4 to be 4 of my favorite movies of all time.
Wow.
And I was thinking about it. I was like, well, if one director can make potentially 4 of my favorite movies of all time,
Is he your favorite director?
how can I not put him in
Call
the
him.
conversation of my favorite director of all time?
Soup.
At least in that one decade. I don't think he's made
okay.
anywhere near as good films since then.
That's true.
But yeah, so Platoon is kind of it's not his first film. It's not even the first film that kind of got him a lot of acclaim. He'd already won an Oscar for screenwriting by this point.
Right.
On a movie he didn't direct.
Writes. Yeah.
So he was well known. He directed a movie called Salvador with James Woods, I think a year before, which is a war photography film.
Yep.
And then Platoon was the movie that just like blew up and made
Yeah.
him a household name.
Nice.
It is incredible. I'm a huge fan of Vietnam War films. It's just been a subgenre that I really dig.
Okay.
And I love the ones that are designed to really make you contemplate the purpose of war.
Why? Yeah.
Like what is the real cost of war? And that that's
Yeah.
a huge kind of
It's massive.
ever enveloping subject.
Yep.
But a movie like Platoon for me takes what is essentially a small story about a soldier who is torn between 2 allegiances, and uses it to say so much about the way war shapes young people.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's visceral. It gets right into your bones when you watch it.
Yeah.
It's an incredible experience.
Yeah.
And features some real like Oliver Stone-ness. Like he's got a thing. He's just I can pick an Oliver Stone film a mile away.
Yeah.
And that they're all here. All his use of sound, his use of song. He's on par with Scorsese for me as far as
He's up
song
there.
choices, like
Okay.
his
Yeah.
choice of soundtrack and things like that, and his use of score.
One of my favorite Oliver Stone movies is Any Given Sunday.
See,
And,
Any Given Sunday, I'm a huge fan of
And
as well.
I remember watching the last time I watched that, realizing that he cut that movie like it was a commercial. Like it's so quick and fast that you feel like you're actually watching a game, like you are in there. Like that's how he wanted the movie. So good.
He's
so good.
He is. You might not always like what he chooses to do, but his choices are always on purpose.
Yeah.
And I'd prefer that any day of the week over a run-of-the-mill
absolutely.
kind of director for hire,
Yeah.
where it's just kind of like, yeah, I'm just doing a thing.
Yeah, we're looking at you, Brett Ratner.
Like it's such a shame because poor Brett Ratner, man, he gets a really hard time. But he is the go-to man where it's like I need a director for hire that I can rag shit on in a conversation.
Yeah.
Brett Ratner. But yeah, so Platoon, if you haven't seen it, it's an 80s.
How is
it's really,
Charlie Sheen?
He's great.
Yeah.
And he it makes it ever so more sad
Yeah.
that he turned into just a complete basket case.
Yeah.
Because he had some real talent in those early days. He had this real great youthful energy. Tom Berenger is never better. Willem Dafoe always putting in killer performances.
Spot on.
And it's got one of those iconic moments that would have popped up in many kind of film photography books. Is the wonderful moment of the crucifix, like the when he's got the arms out after he's been shot, collapsing on the ground.
Yep.
And it's a sequence that just needs to be seen to be believed because it's iconic for a reason. It is just gorgeous, and it's using the score so well. Get on it. It's on Netflix. It's not an easy watch. by all means.
It's not an easy watch.
But if you like war films in any way, shape, or form, and you haven't seen it, this is one that you have to see.
And if you don't know who Oliver Stone is, you really should jump on board. So why not start with the hardest?
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people that are perhaps kind of newer film buffs only know Oliver Stone as this kind of boring made the George Bush movie and
which I still haven't seen, which I would like to see.
No, it's okay.
But the thing is, what you get with an Oliver Stone movie is he is the writer and the director, and he melds those two parts really, really well. He
takes full ownership of his films. It's an Oliver Stone film when you are watching it. There's not many directors left anymore that have that real kind of you know that you are getting a product of them when you go to see a movie. Yeah, like Quentin Tarantino, like Scorsese. Yeah. They're a dying breed, those kind of directors. Yeah. All right, so that wraps us up for today.
Yay!
Tonight. It's late.
It's all right. We're
fine.
All right.
We're fine.
We're going to be going... Sometimes we're going to be doing this at 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's true. We just got to get it done when we get it done.
It's going to be awesome.
For you, the people who are clamoring for our next podcast, who are sitting by your phone waiting, and if we're a second late, you'll be distraught.
Jeez.
I know that's not true, but that's not true. I'm sure we've got a loyal fan base.
They're going to be awesome. They're going to be... They're going to have nicknames.
They will.
That are
for us, or we're going to have nicknames for them?
No, they're going to have nicknames for our show.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be, and I don't want to put... No, I don't want to put... I don't want to... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let them work it out. Exactly.
Anyway, so you can catch us on Twitter, Nick.
Yep. Which is at... follow us on Twitter.
That's the one.
Which is at Nic Tys Videotape.
And you can email us at nicktysonvideotape@gmail.com.
Yay.
We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget, we need some names and some jingles or some things or for our segments.
Exactly. If you want to give us a hand. If you don't, then just keep listening.
Exactly. We don't know what we're doing next week yet, so it'll be a surprise.
Oh, yeah, we don't know.
That's okay. It'll be a big surprise.
Big surprise for everyone.
Yeah, I can't wait. Or maybe I'll just edit something in of myself going... We're going to watch this.
And
then I'll surprise you. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's it. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Tys.
I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.